بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما. Now I would like to begin by asking all of you, we did so many lessons during the past weeks, and how many of you reflected or even thought about the ayat that we learned? When we learned about a hypocrite and a believer, she thought about what are the differences between a hypocrite and a believer. And she thought about how should I be different and how should I make a difference in my life so that I'm not a hypocrite. It is very important for us, each and every one of us, to reflect upon the Quran. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Muhammad, verse number 24, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Then do they not reflect upon the Quran? Now let's listen together and reflect upon the ayah number 26 of Surah tul Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, indeed, Allah is not timid or shy to present an example, that of a mosquito or whatever is above or smaller than it. And those who have believed know that it is the truth from their Lord. But as for those who disbelieve, they say, what did Allah intend by this as an example? He misleads many thereby and guides many thereby. And He misleads not except the defiantly disobedient. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us an example of a mosquito. Now we may think, what an insignificant creature, what a small creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us an example. But like any other creature or any other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to know a mosquito is a miracle. Now what are some of the things when you think about a mosquito, what comes to your mind? Yeah, that's something that stings. It causes diseases. Yeah, some of the things we think are like it's a pest, it's annoying, it causes nuisance, and it's itchy and red bumps. Such a small creature, we think about it with a lot of discomfort. Now, who thinks human body is complicated? All of us? Well, according to scientists, a mosquito's body is just as complicated as a human. A mosquito's lifespan is only a few weeks. Within a couple of hours after the eggs are laid, the larva hatches in the right water temperature. In 3 days, the larva is formed, and within a week, a pupa is formed, and in another 7 days, an adult mosquito is born. Now, I'd like to take your attention to a miracle of a mosquito. If you look at the way the mother lays the egg of a mosquito, it's in the shape of a raft. So that's another miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we did not know that until today. Now, some of the other facts about mosquito, there are 3,000 different species of mosquito. They're able to fly 14 miles for a blood meal. Now, the important thing to note here is, the main food source of a mosquito is not blood. It's fruit or flower nectar. Well, only a female mosquito sucks the blood in order to reproduce. After one blood meal, female mosquito can lay up to 300 eggs. Humans are not actually the first food choice of a mosquito. It's actually cattle, horses, or birds. They are able to hunt by detecting body heat, odor, temperature, and carbon dioxide. Now, another miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the eye of a mosquito. Well, a mosquito has something called a compound eye. Each compound eye takes the overall picture of an object or the surrounding. It is processed simultaneously to provide an outstanding fast motion detection. The compound eye enables the mosquito to have a panoramic view. It is able to see in all the directions. Scientists are now studying the eye of a mosquito to make cameras as such. In the next slide, you'll see the picture of the stinger of a mosquito. It's unique in the way that it's able to find the blood vessel or the capillary within the skin without even being able to see it. So how miraculous is that? Some other facts of a mosquito. There are only 3 primary species of mosquito that causes diseases in humans. Worldwide, around 450 million people suffer from mosquito-borne illnesses. Malaria, disease spread by mosquito, kills 2 million people every single year. So it's safe to say that no other animal inflicts more disease and more harm than a mosquito. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the next part of the ayah, مَثَلًا مَا بَعُوضَةٍ فَمَا فَوْقَهَا. Whatever is above the mosquito. Now we know there are even smaller creatures above the mosquito. There are millions of bacteria that live on the body of the mosquito. One of the most disease-causing one, a malarial parasite called Plasmodium. It's a very small single-celled organism called or protozoan. It lives as a parasite in other organisms, namely man and mosquito. The parasite is the cause of tropical disease called malaria. Now we learned and we heard about all the scientific aspects of mosquito. So what did you reflect and what did you learn about a mosquito? Exactly. Although it's a small creature with such a short lifespan, it's able to cause a lot of harm. Now, we used to believe that insects are naive creatures, but modern science shows us that they are created with precision and they have no mistake in performing its functions. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all these small and bigger creatures. Hence, we should not mock or have negativity towards these creatures, rather appreciate the perfection of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created these creatures. About which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, صُنْعَ اللَّهِ الَّذِي أَتَقْنَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَفْعَلُونَ. The work of Allah, who perfected all things, verily He is well acquainted with what you do. Surah Naml, verse 88. So the important thing here to take away is not the scientific aspect, but rather to reflect and understand and know the perfection and the magnitude of the mosquito's creator, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakallahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين.